Hi, welcome to Made to Heal with Angela Brown. I'm going to talk about something that happens with all of our thought patterns, and I will get into that here in just a minute. Go ahead and click on the links. I have two links in the comments below. One that shares my book that just came out on Amazon. It is called You Are Made to Heal Spiritually, Emotionally, Mentally, and Physically. And the other is a link to my 12-week online course. So go ahead and click on those. And if you have any questions, please feel free and reach out to me. So I'm going to talk about something that we all deal with in our thinking patterns. And this is found in the free course from the Church of Jesus Christ.org. If you go on there, and it has an emotional resilience resource course, and it's best taken by a group of people. So grab some friends and do the course. But what I really like about this is on the thinking patterns, we all run into this in our thinking, and it is triggers. We all get triggers from time to time, and triggers can have to happen often. Usually triggers will happen with people that you clash with. You feel like you're butting heads all the time, whether it be with a child, a spouse, a neighbor, a coworker. And so just knowing when these triggers come. And I really like the questions that they have in this manual. So I'm going to read it. I'm not going to go over everything in this manual, but I'm going to read some questions because questions are super important. I believe we as a society are not asking ourselves enough questions. The more questions we ask, God within, Christ within, the more answers we will get, because they'll let us know. When you ask that question and you have that deep yearning and desire to know the answer, how to solve the problem or whatever you're coming up against, God and Christ are right there to help you solve it. The answers, all answers, come from love, and God and Christ are love. The definition, they are love. They are the definition of love. So these are the questions that you can ask yourself when triggers come up. What moods do I struggle with the most? So think about the moods day to day, on a day to day. What do you struggle with the most? Write it down. It is so important to keep a log of and when you write it down, what it happens is when you write things down, which I'm a huge advocate in writing, it helps things come more to an awareness. When you write it down, your brain will refer back to it a lot quicker rather than just thinking about it. So write down those moods that you come across the most and what you struggle with the most, meaning it's probably not going to be that pleasant, right? So what days of the week or times of day are hardest for me? What specific day or time of day is hardest for you? Is it when the kids come home from school? Is it getting people out of the door on time? Is it, um, when a particular person comes into your life daily and it just sets you on edge? What is it that are hardest for you? Name it out, call it out. And that's the next question is, what types of people are difficult for me to be around? Is there someone specific? Write their name down. Is it just a group of people and what they stand for? Write it down. What sets you off? And then what situations or events are most difficult for me? So, whether it's often that it happens weekly, or if it's monthly, or if it's just sporadic, call it out. What situations are really hard for you to be in? Write it down. Maybe you're an introvert and just about any social situation you can think of can be a difficult thing for you. Write it down. It's important to recognize that, yes, I have troubles with this. And it's okay, because we all do. We all have our areas where we struggle in, and that's okay. It's just being aware of that. The last question is, what are a few triggers that occur repeatedly in my life? What triggers am I coming across every day in my life? So, or repeatedly. I mean, that's every day or repeatedly, very often, right? So write those down. Then I'm going to get into some questions. They have some examples. And going to a party where you don't know anybody, because of this trigger, This is how I felt. This is how I reacted. But what, how can I respond instead of getting tired of the same results all the time? And I want better results, but I'm just not getting them. The definition of insanity. What can I do to respond in a better way? What would Christ do? What could I do to better this situation? Yes, look at your actions, not at the people around you, because we're not here to change others. It's impossible to change others. The only one you can change in this world is you. And when I recognized that was where my power lied, the power lies within to change what's going on in here and get them to connect together. So I'm going to share a couple experiences. One that happened just recently last night, and one that happened for years. And I am going to get vulnerable and share a little bit of information about my marriage. It was a rough. We had a lot of rough patches because I was in my unhealthy state of mind, and so was he, and so it just, we struggled, and I was one that I did not like to come across any friction, right? And so if I could tell things were starting to boil up or whatever, I just wanted to just avoid the whole situation, avoid him, avoid talking. Like, I would play the silent treatment. And there was a time where he was like, look, you need to talk to me, and I at least deserve that respect. And so I wouldn't talk to him, and it was rough. And he was like, I am not leaving. And in fact, he blocked the doorway so I couldn't leave. And he's like, when you're ready to talk, I'm right here, and I will not leave until you talk to me. I am, it made me so mad at my husband at the time because I wasn't wanting to talk, willing to talk, ready to talk. And I had to swallow my pride. And I'm like, dang, he's not going anywhere, and he's serious. Like, I just probably sat there for a good 20 to 30 minutes, and he was just not going anywhere. Finally, I'm like, fine, you want me to talk? This is how I'm feeling, and blah, blah, blah. I let it all out. Like, I spewed a bunch of garbage. A bunch of garbage had come out of my mouth, stuff that I had bottled in for a long, long, long time. And just, I felt good, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, that was a lot of ugly stuff that came out of my mouth, and I don't feel good. So, how productive that was, I don't know, but we struggled with communication. We really did in our marriage, and a lot of people struggle with communication. Most people do not have the communication thing down. Well over half. I think I read in a book somewhere, and it said over 80% of the population struggle with communication. And I had a hard time expressing how I felt. And I just remember my type of communication was just that, since that experience of my husband, like, just talk to me. And I'm like, okay, fine. You're not going to like what comes out of my mouth, but you want to hear it? Here you go. Blah, 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 blah. I would dump it out on him. Then I realized that's not very productive. Spewing a bunch of negative things onto someone else is not productive. And so I remember, as I was, after I had hit rock bottom, and I would find myself in these situations where it was my husband and I, and we were not agreeing, I got in the habit of, I'm going to give him a piece of my mind, and I'm not going to sit here and take, whatever. And I just remember learning to shut my mouth, like, learn to just be quiet. Don't add fuel to the fire. Adding fuel to the fire in an argument or whatever is going on is the worst thing you can do. So I just remembered, like, okay, God, how do I do this? What does this look like? And I remember one day my husband got upset and was just really frustrated. And whether he was upset directly with me or not, I don't remember. Probably not. I think he was just really frustrated, and he just started yelling. And, and sometimes when people start yelling around you, you take it personal. And I, at that point, decided, you know what, this isn't my deal. I'm not going to take it personal. I just let him vent and get all the frustration off his chest. But at the same time, how did I respond? the Christ-like way that would have helped me years and years prior, but I just remember being silent. And as I was silent, I paid attention to what's going on in here. And normally my old self would have been like, ooh, I want to give him a piece of my mind. And I'm just going to, thinking of all the things I'm going to say to retort to him or whatever. And I didn't do that. Instead, I chose to have peace in my mind. And I just said a prayer for him at that time. I said, Heavenly Father, will you please help him feel calm? I am so grateful for him because he is so good at this, this, and this. I am so grateful for him, being the father figure in my home. I am grateful for this quality and this quality in him. And I was just praying for him that he could find some peace. And I was just having thoughts of love and understanding. And I'm so sorry that he feels so frustrated. And I ask that you help him at this time. Well, that had an impact on my husband because he was like, wow, usually she has a lot of things to come back at me and say, and she didn't. And it had a huge impact. So I'm telling you, when we can diffuse the situation rather than adding fuel to a fire, then you're in the right way of responding to those triggers. So take the high road. Always take the high road, and think of maybe not your usual ways you would react, because for me that was not in a positive manner. I would just have to quickly say a quick prayer and say, okay, how can I handle this situation? How do I keep this situation from escalating? And the number one thing is when I say a prayer, I quickly invite the Spirit to be with me. Please, God, please give me the Spirit. Please help the Spirit be with me so that I don't escalate things. Please help put the right thoughts and words into my mind so that I can have a better outcome, so that this situation, this experience can be resolved. That's very important. So something recently happened last night. I won't go into details and I'm not going to share names, but I just had, it was within my family. One of my kids informed another kid that it had involved, saying, hey, did you know this happened? And this person was very upset, super upset. And she was like, I can't believe this happened. Mom, will you reach out to this person? Because, we were all involved. I was involved and this child was involved. And that was all. And then, anyway, a sibling happened to, months later, something comes up and she was just like, Mom, you have to do something. And I am I do not like confrontation. I don't like to rock the boat or whatever. And a lot of the times my natural instinct is just to avoid the whole situation and it'll wash over and let it go. Just let it go. But where it involved a child of mine and this person was super upset, I'm like, I can't just let it go. I need to let this other person that's not in our family whatsoever, but in our community, I'm like, I need to approach this person in my community and let them know that this isn't okay and this has affected my family in a negative manner. And I did it in the most loving way. I said a prayer before responding to this person. And I was grateful for the response. The response was, I am so sorry. They apologized. And anyway, but it just showed that when there's something going on in your circle, whether it's in your family or in the community, we can resolve issues with love. We can resolve issues in a healthy manner, and we can be able to move forward. So this is why it's so important to pay attention to the triggers. How are your triggers? Usually your initial reaction is, and you just want to let them have it. And, I'm so mad or this person is, whatever. And we're not saying kind things or kind thoughts aren't coming into our mind. But if we just step and go, oh, this is a trigger. This is a trigger. And how can I calm myself down, and what can I do to replace these negative emotions for more positive emotions, and what can I do to resolve this issue in a manner where I'm taking the high road and I'm involving Christ and what he would do in my actions. And I'm telling you, it works every time if you just swallow your pride and go, okay, and always give the other person the benefit of the doubt. Always assume that whatever they are doing in their life and their choices and they're making, they are just doing the best they know how. And don't take offense to somebody else's response to you or somebody's actions towards you. The easy thing to do is to be offended or, act hurt or whatever, but to just drop that and come from a place of love, like they are doing the best they can. So that is what has helped me in my triggers. So go in and pay attention to those triggers and really write things out and have that awareness so that you can respond in a more healthy manner. So I am an advocate of this emotional resilience course. It's well worth it. I love the questions that it asks. It helps you to really think about your week. And as you're going throughout the week, it helps you to be like, oh, that was just a triggering moment. I'm feeling upset with this person because this is how they acted, whether it's somebody you work with or within the family unit or within your community, whatever it is. We can have stronger, better homes when we work on those communication skills and when we say, hey, this situation makes me feel this, or when this happens, or when you say this, I feel, and just try to work with one another, resolving the issue rather than adding more fuel to the fire, rather than coming at anger with anger or words thrown at you, rather than coming up that person that threw those words at you with more words. That's just not solving the issue, and it's making things worse. So believe you in me, I know, because that's how I operated for, the first 20 years of my marriage. And it was 20 years of my marriage. And it was not the way to do things. So I am really grateful for, is my marriage perfect? Has it ever been? No. It struggled for a long time. But now I feel like my husband and I have a beautiful marriage compared to what it was. And it's still not perfect. We are still working and things come up all the time. And it's important to express your feelings, and it's important for your spouse to express their feelings and to have that open line of communication and to resolve things quickly rather than, letting it fester and fester like this pressure. I think of a cooking pressure pot, whatever, letting it, having problems stuffed until like it's going to explode because you can't stuff it anymore. So it's important to address them as they come up rather than letting weeks and months and years go by on certain things. So it's very, very important to communicate. Please like and subscribe to this channel, and God bless until next time, and pay attention to those trigger moments. Bye.